Thank you guys so much. Lastly, I'd like to introduce one more piece of writing. This is our postscript, and it was written actually by If I Told You's founder, who we're so excited and pleased to have with us tonight. He traveled in from Boston. This is Zach Alexander.
I've been meaning to ask, do alums get chapel credit for this event? I think I'm a little short still. Most of what I have to say is in this, which I'm about to read, but I just want to say that coming back to campus, I don't think I've been here physically at all for the past 6 years. I feel a really overwhelming sense of, wow, like this place is the same. You know, it's the same bend around, lane and the same terribly long walk, I imagine, from, is it Woodland parking lot? I imagine if I went to Lane after this, there'd be the same mozzarella sticks and frozen yogurt. And but just talking to people so far, it also seems like a lot has changed. And the fact that we're having this event would have been unthinkable when I was a student. So this is can you guys hear me? Do I have to stoop down? Testing? Okay. When Diana, Monica, and I created this publication in 2007, we didn't anticipate it would be carried on for so long by future cohorts of students, nor broadened in scope to include closets beyond the LGBT kind. This issue in particular hit home for me because many of these words could have easily been my own. I still remember coming back to campus my 5th year after a year studying abroad in England and being prompted to sign the usual dorm room intake form. Juxtaposed with the boilerplate about the condition of the room, advising me that I would be charged if the walls or furniture deteriorated between September and May, was the section asking me to renew my assent to the life and conduct statement. And I couldn't do it. Not because of its behavioral expectations. Regardless of my opinions about alcohol or sexual activity, those were within my control, in reasonable areas for a private religious college to be regulating. But the life and conduct statement also included a statement of faith. And after 4 years of first-rate liberal arts education, ranging over the breadth and depth of human thought and experience, I found myself unable to sign it with integrity. I told my RD. My case went to Barry Loy's office, and he granted my request that he accept my signature plus theological caveats written in the margin. Not, I presume, because he thinks the life... Oh, this got cut off a little bit. Could I see a copy? My case went to Barry Loy's office, and he granted my request that he accept my signature with theological caveats written in the margin, not, I presume, because he thinks the life and conduct statement a light thing, but because the sincerity, seriousness, and orthodoxy of his faith do not prevent him from being a profoundly decent and thoughtful human being. And it is hard to imagine a morally sensitive person being so cruel as to expel a well-behaved student in their final year solely over questions of theology. Because as much as Gordon has the right to define itself, setting its own criteria for admissions, student behavior, and official pronouncements, no one can regulate the conscience. And as much as Gordon aspires to keep its students' minds and dorm walls pure and undefiled, these ideals cannot always be attained. Life happens, and things change, especially in your 20s. And at the risk of stating the obvious, I don't think it's in Gordon's interest either for its students to drop out or transfer junior year at the first sign of doubt, nor for huge percentages of its alumni, if my friends are remotely representative, to feel estranged and disaffected. So the question is not whether there are doubters and unbelievers side by side with the faithful in classrooms and chapel benches. There are, and there always will be, as long as Gordon remains a place of rigorous, honest, intellectual engagement with a complicated world. The question is, how then shall we live? The Gordon motto, freedom within a framework of faith, can be looked at in two ways. Perhaps it means that students are permitted freedom of thought and speech as long as it stays within given bounds of orthodoxy. I think that's how it's usually interpreted by supporters and detractors alike. But it could just as well be interpreted to mean this, that students are permitted freedom of thought and speech, period. But that happens within a campus environment that is faith-based at every level. That Gordon is a place where students must go to chapel, where professors integrate their faith into their teaching, and where policy and programs are based on scripture, but where students who come to think differently over their time here are still recognized as existing and treated as people, not as problems. I hope that this publication is one step closer to that kind of authentic community, where people who are isolated and invisible can be seen, heard, and respected. And yet, you can only have so much of a relationship with an anonymous person. So I invite the writers in this issue, and others like them, to consider these queries. How might your community and your relationships be strengthened if you are open about your thoughts and feelings? How might you be changed? I know, this is easy for me to say, ensconced downtown in a Quaker intentional community where I already know that I'm accepted for who I am. I want to end by being clear that my own continued engagement with Gordon via If I Told You does not come from a place of bitterness or glee in making Greg Karmer's job more difficult, but love for professors, administrators, friendships formed, memories made. I might tear up here a little bit. Lessons learned, insights provoked, skills developed, even for the beautiful campus. I cringe every time I walk through Harvard Yard with its cheap, crumbling asphalt walkways. I hope any reader who might feel attacked or upset by this issue can accept it in the spirit of the proverb, faithful are the wounds of a friend. And I just want to say as an aside, I can only speak for my own contributions. I can't speak for other writers. Also, I want to commend GCSA and the administration for supporting this project because I know it has taken great courage and sensitivity to do so. You have my deep respect, and I'm not the only alum who will feel this way. Finally, to any doubting students struggling to survive, feeling stifled by the bubble or terrified of the void outside, have courage. Many have walked in your shoes and lived to tell the tale. If you want to talk to someone, hit me up. Email Zach at zachalexander.com. Maybe we'll go to a Quaker meeting or a humanist community event together. And if someone asks us how we know each other, we'll say, Gordon College, not with embarrassment, but pride.